Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to my presentation. I would like to extend my highest respect to the Honorable Lecturer, Professor Dr. Mashadi Said, M.Pd, and all of the audiences. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Anisa Jannatin Hasanah with student ID number 2025 74733. I'm a master student in English Education program of Indraprastha University. This video is created to fulfill the requirements for the final semester examination in the Academic Speaking for Scientific Purposes course. In this video, I'd like to present a discussion on overcoming student anxiety in language learning under the title Public Speaking in EFL, Teaching Students to Speak with Confidence. To guide our discussion, here is the outline of my presentation. First, I will explain why public speaking matters in EFL. Second, we will look at the challenges EFL students face. Third, I will share my confidence building strategies. And fourth, we will discuss public speaking activities in EFL class. Fifth, the role of the teacher. And finally, the conclusion. Ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with the fundamental question. Why public speaking matters in EFL? Why should we focus on public speaking? First, it bridges competence and performance. Many students excel in written exams. They have the passive knowledge but fail to communicate in real life situations. Public speaking bridges this gap by activating that passive vocabulary. Second, it ensures real world readiness. English is the global language of business and academia. Our students need to be prepared for job interview and seminars, not just grammar tests. And the third, it boosts cognitive development. Public speaking forces students to think critically and organize their thoughts logically in English, accelerating the process of thinking in the target language rather than translating in their heads. However, despite its importance, we know that reality in the classroom is often different. Many students freeze when asked to speak. This brings us to our second point. Challenges EFL students face. What stops them? First, there are linguistic barriers. Students struggle with limited vocabulary and grammar anxiety. They often fear their English is not good enough to be heard. The second, the psychological barriers, or what Stephen Krashen called the affective filter. When anxiety is high, it acts as a mental block, preventing learning and production. Third, the fear of negative evaluation. This is the intense fear of making mistakes in front of peers or being judged by teacher. And lastly, cultural factor. In some cultures, silence is golden, and speaking out can be seen as showing off. Overcoming this cultural modesty is a significant hurdle. Now that we have identified the enemy, which is anxiety and fear, how do we defeat it? Let's move on to the core of this presentation, confidence building strategies. We need to foster a growth mindset. First, cultivate psychological safety. We must establish a culture where mistakes are viewed as essential learning tools, not failures. There should be a zero tolerance policy for mocking peers. Second, use scaffolding structure. Don't throw students into the deep end. Provide sentence starters and templates before expecting free speech. Third, emphasize preparation over memorization. Teach students that confidence comes from preparation. I highly encourage using cue card with bullet points instead of full scripts because reading a script kills eye contact. And finally, teach psychological hacks. Simple things like power posing, standing tall, and deep breathing can psychically lower stress hormone level before speaking. Strategies and theories are essential, but as a teacher, we need practical tools. How does this look in a real classroom? Let's explore some public speaking activities in the EFL class. We can range these from low anxiety to high challenge activities. For beginners, try show and tell. Students describe a favorite item in simple sentences. The focus is on the object, which takes the pressure off the students. For intermediate students, use a mini pecha kucha. This is a presentation with image only, no text. Students speak for 20 seconds per image. This forces natural flow and prevent reading. And for the advanced students, try the sales speech. Give them a random object and ask them to persuasively sell it. This is great for impromptu skills. You can also use low stakes warm up, like just a minute, where they speak a random topic to make speaking fun. Okay, these activities are fantastic, but they require the right guidance to succeed. This leads us to the next crucial element, role of the teacher. We must shift from being examiner to a coach. First, be the facilitator. Provide the necessary vocabulary and environment. Second, be the cheerleader. Provide emotional validation. Acknowledge that public speaking is scary and prize their courage. Third, be the constructive critic. How you give feedback matters. I recommend the sandwich method. Start with the top button. The top button is a prize. For example, your eye contact was excellent. And then the meat. The meat is correction. For example, try to check your past tense verbs. And with the bottom bun, encouragement. Overall, great job. To wrap everything up, let's summarize what we've discussed in the conclusion. Here are the key takeaways. First, public speaking is a skill, not a talent. It is learnable, not reserved just for extroverts. Second, focus on progress over perfections. The goal is communicative competence, getting the message across, not native, like perfection. My final call to action is for all teachers to try one small, low stakes speaking activity in their next class to start building students' confidence immediately. Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for your good attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.